Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another book related video. I do like to do different videos besides just my health journey, although I feel like reading is kind of part of my health journey. It's part of my mental and emotional wellness for sure. I do love to read. I did not read as much this year. I really was in a huge reading slump this year, especially towards the latter half of the year. But last year I did share with you guys my 5-star reads for 2021. So I wanted to do that again because a lot of people got a lot of good ideas for books. And a lot of the books I read do come from Kindle Unlimited, which if you do subscribe to that, then you can get all these books for free. Well, kind of free. I mean, you pay for the subscription. But anyway, we're also going to talk about my year in books per Goodreads. So I do use Goodreads. If you want to be friends on Goodreads, I do always have those links down below in the description box. So click on there, you can kind of read along with me, see what I'm reading, look at books that I've read. I think you can see what I've rated them. I don't write really reviews, but when I do write reviews, you can see those as well. But let's talk about my year in books, and then we'll go into my 2022 5-star reads. So this year I read 37 books. Last year I read 48. So there is a pretty big difference between this year and last year. This next year, I'm putting a 50 book goal, and we'll see if I can read that or more. And the number of pages I read this year was 10,409 compared to last year's of 16,751. So last year definitely read a lot more pages. Average book length this year was 281 pages. This is compared to last year's of 348 pages. So not only did I read more last year, I also read longer books. My longest book this year was 377 pages. My last year's longest book was 688 pages. I used to read really long books like when I was in high school and right out of high school in my 20s, but I do typically tend to keep it around 400 or less pages. So I'm not even sure what that 688 page book was, but yeah, that was a long book. The shortest book I read this year was 53 pages. It was a novella. And my last year's shortest book was 200 pages, which I kind of consider that barely a novel myself. I don't know what is considered a novel. I would assume it'd be 200 plus pages, and then the rest maybe novellas, not sure. The average rating, surprisingly, it's kind of funny, is it's exactly the same this year as it was last year, which was 4.2 stars. So very interesting. You guys know I'm a pretty tough rater when it comes to rating books. You know that for me to give a 5-star book, or book a 5-star rating, it has to have all of my elements. And I talk about this in my monthly book reviews. I talk about how they have to like really surprise me. I don't want to be able to guess every single twist and turn. If I guess some of them, that's fine. But usually if I'm like 3/4 of the way of the book and I've pretty much guessed the entire book, that's usually going to be a 4-star rating for me, as long as the rest of the book was good. Characters are a strong thing for me. I mean, there's always going to be a couple characters in the book that you just don't like, or you don't like how they were written. Now, I know there's characters in books that you're supposed to not like, so I'm not counting those ones. I count the ones that they just are not written well, or they don't have good character development. It has nothing to do with the actual character itself, because when I really, really loathe a character because it has excellent character development by the author, then I find that as a win for sure. This year I have 15 5-star reads to share with you. I do not remember what last year's was. I forgot to look at that data. I want to say it was around 12 or 13 is what I want to say, because I did look at it a couple months ago, but I forgot to look right before this video. Since I've done book reviews for all of these books, except for the ones that I read in December, I will only read the synopsis of these books, but I will link all the book review videos in the description box. I will also link the books mentioned in this video so you can go check them out yourself. I will also let you know if any of these books are available through Kindle Unlimited. Again, Kindle Unlimited is a subscription service through Amazon. You pay $9.99 a month, and then there are hundreds of books on there for free that you can read. And you will guys know, if you watch my monthly book reviews, you'll know that at least 3/4 of the books that I read come through Kindle Unlimited, and then the rest of them I get from my library, or I will purchase books as long as they're under about $4.99. I don't like to pay more than $3 or $4, $5 at the most, depending on the author, for a book. So I do get a lot of my books through Apple Books when they're having sales, or through Kindle when they're having sales, or I get them through my library. And I do only read ebooks. So if this is a book from Kindle Unlimited, I will let you know. And also, just so you know, and I don't have any sort of link or anything for Kindle Unlimited. I'm not like sponsored by them in no way, but I do like to talk about it because it is something that I highly, highly recommend for readers. But they do have specials all the time. I think when I first signed up for it, they had a special going on where you got Kindle Unlimited for 3 months for 99 cents a month. And then after that, it was $9.99. So they have a lot of those, and especially with this new year, I would say that there's probably a really good deal going on. So check that out if you want to at least try it out. Okay, so let's go into my 5-star reads. I have my notes here, you guys, as always in my book reviews. I put my notes right here. That way I don't want to miss anything. Plus, in this video, I will be reading the synopsis to you. I'll also let you know what month I read these. So I'm going to start with January and kind of let you know. You can see how my reading progressed through the year. And I'll kind of let you know if these are new authors to me, that kind of thing. But I do talk about those also in my full book review videos. So in January, I had 3 5-star reads. I discovered 2 new to me authors. So the first book was a new author to me way back in January. This was Cross Her Heart by Melinda Lee. This is part of her Bree Taggart series. So Melinda Lee writes a lot of series and she writes a lot of books, and all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. And these series are really big and they all kind of intertwine as well, because I did learn that by reading some of her other books throughout the year, that there's people that pop up in her series that you kind of get a snippet of this person, and then you realize, oh, that person's in this other series. So like other police officers, because these are like mystery crime, romantic suspense novels. And so sometimes you'll introduce another detective or police chief or somebody, FBI agent, somebody in her book, and that actually person is coming from another series, which is a great tactic because it gets you start thinking, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go read that series now but it doesn't ruin it for you. It just you just get a little snippet in that person's life, so now you can go watch. I think one of the other series that somebody's introduced into this one is from the Scarlet Falls series, and so I definitely want to read a little bit in that. I do have to catch myself from just sitting there binging an entire series, because I do like to kind of mix things up a little bit, but I could see myself really sitting down and reading a ton of Melinda Lee's books. So I've been kind of just spacing it. Then they're not all 5-star reads for me, but this one definitely was. So I read this in January. So here's a synopsis of this book. For more than 25 years, Philadelphia homicide detective Bree Taggart has tucked away the nightmarish childhood memories of her parents' murder-suicide until her younger sister Erin is killed in a crime that echoes that tragic night. Innocent witnesses in a stormy marriage that ended in gunfire. There's just one chilling difference. Erin's husband Justin has vanished. Bree knows how explosive the line between love and hate can be, yet the evidence against her troubled brother-in-law isn't adding up. Teaming up with Justin's old friend, former sheriff's investigator and canine handler Matt Flynn, Bree vows to uncover the secrets of her sister's life and death as she's promised Erin's children. But as her investigation unfolds, the danger hits close to home. Once again, Bree's family is caught in a death grip, and this time it could be fatal for her. So yes, it definitely grabs you. That synopsis grabs you like right from the beginning. But yes, I do highly recommend this book, obviously, since it was a 5-star read. The second book I read in January that was a 5-star read was also another new author to me. This book was The Family Across the Street by Nicole Trope. I think that's how you say that. This is a psychological thriller mystery. This was $3.99 through the Kindle store on Amazon. I had read a lot of good things about this author, and it had some really good ratings, and so I went ahead and just bought the book because it just sounded really good. And I believe I have one more from this author as well that I have not read yet, but all of her books have a lot of good ratings. So here's a synopsis of this book. Sometimes the most perfect families are hiding the most terrible secrets. How well do you know the people next door? Everybody wants to live on Hogarth Street, the pretty tree-lined avenue with its white houses. The new family, the Wests, are a perfect fit. Catherine and John seem so in love, and their gorgeous 5-year-old twins race screeching around their beautiful emerald green lawn. But soon people start to notice. Why don't they join backyard barbecues? Why do they brush away offers to babysit? Why, when you knock at the door, do they shut you out rather than inviting you in? Every family has secrets, and on the hottest day of the year, the truth is about to come out. As a tragedy unfolds behind closed doors, the dawn chorus is split by the wail of sirens. And one by one, the families who tried so hard to welcome the West begin to realize Hogarth Street will never be the same again. So this author is compared to like Sally Hepworth, Leanne Moriarty, and Lisa Jewell, which Lisa Jewell is a hit and miss for me, so that really wasn't a draw for me, but I do really enjoy Sally Hepworth books, mainly because I love neighborhood drama books. Like and I think we'll see another neighborhood drama book come up as a 5-star read. I'm pretty sure I gave that other book that I read a 5-star read. I just really enjoy those books. I think they're so interesting. It's kind of like that glimpse into a neighborhood, that whole nosy type neighbor thing. I just always have loved to read those types of books. So this one definitely satisfies that kind of craving for me when it comes to reading books. The last book in January that I read was by an author that I have read a ton of books from, and that's Carla Kovach. This one is What She Did by Carla Kovach. This again is a psychological thriller, suspense mystery. This one is currently $3.99 through the Kindle store. I do not remember where I bought this one, or if I had, I feel like this was when I bought actually off of Apple Books, but I'm not positive. Or maybe it was $3.99 through the Kindle store. I will always buy Carla Kovach books because every book that I've read from her has been really good. There's actually a series that I have read most of. I read all of them up to the point where the books stopped coming out. I caught up to them, and I know that now there's 2 or 3 more since then. So it's been a couple of years since I've read anything from that series, so I'm going to go back and finish it. I don't like when I catch up to series. I enjoy waiting till almost a full series is out before I start to read them. I've always been that way. So let's talk about this one. This is a standalone though. This is not part of a series that I'm aware of. So here's the synopsis of this book. If you think you did something terrible, would you tell? I live a small life, a 1-bedroom apartment, clothes that help me blend into the background, just a few friends who don't know my whole story. Everything has to be simple, ordered, and in its place. It gives me the illusion that I'm in control, even though I never can be. 20 years ago, I lost everyone I ever loved, and they say it was all my fault. I've tried to make sure I can never hurt anyone again, but it's hard to live any kind of life without letting anyone get close to me. And then come the sirens, the knock at the door. If I'd done something terrible, I would know, wouldn't I? Yeah, you guys, it's really good. So again, I will link my January book review video down below so you can hear all my thoughts on these books and the other ones I read in January. I did not have another 5-star read until March. I think that's one of the reasons why I was in such a huge reading slump, was because I read a lot of bad books in 2022, or just not very enjoyable ones, and it really, really pushed me to where I did not want to read until I discovered Frida McFadden. I know a lot of people tell me how much they like Frida McFadden after I've mentioned her, or people have picked up her books since I mentioned her. She definitely was a shining light in 2022, and now I know that anytime I go into a reading slump, I need to pick up one of her books because I know it's going to be good. They have not all been 5-star read for me. I believe one of them was a 4-star, 1 or 2 have been 4-star reads, but they have all been excellent, and they will definitely all pull me out of a slump. So this one that I read was called The Locked Door, again by Frida McFadden. Again, a psychological thriller, mystery, suspense. I read this in March. So here is the synopsis. Some doors are locked for a reason. While 11-year-old Nora Davis was up in her bedroom doing homework, she had no idea her father was killing women in the basement, until the day the police arrived at their front door. Decades later, Nora's father is spending his life behind bars, and Nora is a successful surgeon with a quiet, solitary existence. Nobody knows her father was a notorious serial killer, and she intends to keep it that way. Then Nora discovers one of her young female patients has been murdered in the same unique and horrific manner that her father used to kill his victims. Somebody knows who Nora is. Somebody wants her to take the fall for this unthinkable crime, but she's not a killer like her father. The police can't pin anything on her as long as they don't look in her basement. One thing that Frida McFadden is super good with, and that is the synopsis. I mean, I don't know who actually writes the synopsis. I'm assuming the authors have something to do with it, but hers always suck you in. In April, again, I only had one 5-star read from a new to me author, Mia Sosa. I wanted to read, like, again, I was just in this reading slump. I thought maybe sometimes I can get myself out when I read something a little bit lighter, just something different. I do like to read like romantic comedy type books, as well as the psychological thriller mystery books. So I did pick up this one by Mia Sosa. Glad I did, because it really did, I remember, just really made it kind of realize, okay, I need to start reading again. This can get me out of this. This one was called The Worst Best Man, again by Mia Sosa. This is a romance chick lit. I read it in April. So here is the synopsis. A wedding planner left at the altar. Yeah, the irony isn't lost on Carolina Santos either. But despite that embarrassing blip from her past, Lena's managed to make other people's dreams come true as a top-tier wedding coordinator in DC. After impressing an influential guest, she's offered an opportunity that could change her life. There's just one hitch. She has to collaborate with the best, make that worst man from her own failed nuptials. Tired of living in his older brother's shadow, marketing expert Max Hartley is determined to make his mark with a coveted hotel client looking to expand its brand. Then he learns he'll be working with his brother's whip-smart, stunning, absolutely off-limits ex-fiancée, and she loathes him. If they can survive the next few weeks and nail their presentation without killing each other, they'll both come out ahead, except Max has been public enemy number one ever since he encouraged his brother to jilt the bride, and Lena's ready to dish out a little payback of her own. But even the best laid plans can go awry, and soon Lena and Max discover animosity may not be the only emotion creating sparks between them. Still, this star-crossed couple can never be more than temporary playmates, because Lena isn't interested in falling in love, and Max refuses to play runner-up to his brother ever again. Now, there is a second book to this one, but I have not been reading the greatest reviews about it, so I've been a little bit leery of picking it up. What is it called? Something with bridesmaids, I want to say. So let me know if you have read the second one in this like kind of series. I think it's about other people that's in the book. It's not, I don't think it's about the same couple. I think it may be about maybe her sister, if I remember right. But I've been kind of, like I said, just kind of not wanting to pick it up because I've just been a little, I've been just reading some really terrible things about it, and so I don't want to have a dud to put me into a slump again. Now, I had 2 5-star reads in the month of May. Another one by Melinda Lee. So this one was See Her Die by Melinda Lee. This was a Brave Taggart number 2. Again, a mystery, romantic, suspense, crime. I really enjoy crime books, so if you have a really good crime author to read, let me know so I can check out some of the books. This one is on Kindle Unlimited. As I mentioned, I'm pretty sure all of Melinda Lee's books are on Kindle Unlimited. The synopsis of this one: new sheriff Bree Taggart is called to a shooting in a campground shuttered for the winter, but she arrives to find a perplexing crime. There is no shooter, no victim, and no blood. But no one but Bree believes the sole witness, Alyssa, a homeless teenager who insists she saw her friend shot. Bree calls in former deputy Matt Flynn and his K-9 to track the killer and search for Alyssa's friend. They discover the battered corpse of a missing university student under the ice in Gray Lake, but it's not the victim they were looking for. When 2 more students go missing and additional bodies turn up, Bree must find the link between the victims. And she knows only one thing for certain: the murders are fueled by rage. When Alyssa disappears, Bree must race against time to find her before the witness becomes another victim. Now, this one was the one, I'm pretty sure, the one that kind of brought in other characters from some of her other books, due to there's a secondary kind of mystery going on at the same time as this one. So it was really interesting to find out that there was a whole other series involving some other characters. The other one in May, again, by Frida McFadden. Her name's going to pop up quite a bit in this video. This one was The Housemaid. Again, thriller, mystery, psychological thriller. This actually was a nominee for Goodreads Choice Award for the best mystery and thriller. It did not win. I believe I did vote for this one to win, but it was a nominee. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I think I mentioned, maybe I did not mention, that all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited as well. Here is the synopsis. "Welcome to the family," Nina Winchester says as I shake her elegant manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like, but I'll soon learn that the Winchesters' secrets are far more dangerous than my own. Every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom. I collect their daughter from school and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes so full of pain, it's hard not to imagine what it would be like to live Nina's life. The walk-in closet, a fancy car, the perfect husband. I only try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses once just to see what it looks like. But soon she finds out, and by the time I realize my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself, the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. And as they say, this is an unbelievably twisty read that will have you glued to the pages late in the night, which is very true. And this one actually has a second book coming out. I want to say it's in January. I already have it flagged to send to me as soon as it comes out. So yes, there's a second book to The Housemaid. So if you read The Housemaid, definitely be on the watch out for the second one. And I have a feeling it will be a 5-star read. Okay, so I'm going to lump June, July, and August into one section because I just went into like the biggest reading slump because, as you saw, I only had just those 2 5-star reads in May, not very many in April. Again, I was just reading some really bad books, and I was DNFing books, and I hardly ever DNF book. That's do not finish. So there were so many of them that I just would start and I could not get into them. And I usually try to give until about 20% of the book and 20, maybe 30 at the most. And if I can't get into the book, I put it down. And there was 2 or 3 of those between like May and June that I was doing that. And so I did only do just a summer book review video. So I will have that link down below. But that's why I'm also going to just clump June, July, and August into this one section. So the first one, again, is another auto-buy book or auto-buy author for me, and that's Kimberly Bell. Love her books. I'm pretty sure all of her books but one have been 5-star reads for me. She does have a new book out. I just haven't bought it yet. I'm kind of waiting to see if it goes cheaper or to see if it shows up in my library, but if not, I will definitely be buying it. I do have a gift card that I can use for it. So this one's called My Darling Husband by Kimberly Bell. Again, a thriller, mystery, suspense. I did read this one in June. So here is the synopsis. Everyone is about to know what her husband isn't telling her. Jade and Cam Lasky are by all accounts a happily married couple with 2 adorable kids, a spacious home, and a rapidly growing restaurant business. But their world is tipped upside down when Jade is confronted by a masked home invader. As Cam scrambles to gather the ransom money, Jade starts to wonder if they're financially secure as their lifestyle suggests, and what other secrets her husband is keeping from her. Cam may be a good father, a celebrity chef, and a darling husband, but there's another side he's kept hidden from Jade that has put their family in danger. Unbeknownst to Cam and Jade, the home invader has been watching them and is about to turn their family secrets into a public scandal. So that one is really good. I believe I read another home invader book this year that was not as successful, but this one definitely was hugely successful. The next book I read for a 5-star read, I read it in the end of July, beginning of August, so it's like July/August. This one's on Kindle Unlimited. This actually was a nominee in 2020 for a Good Choice Reader Award for Best Mystery and Thriller. This one is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I've seen her books, I just never had picked one up. And when this one popped up on Kindle Unlimited, I was like, yes, let's go ahead and read this book. So here's the synopsis. After the first season of her true crime podcast became an overnight sensation and set an innocent man free, Rachel Crowell is now a household name and the last hope for thousands of people seeking justice. But she's used to being recognized for her voice, not her face, which makes it all the more unsettling when she finds a note on her car windshield addressed to her begging for help. The small town in Neapolis is being torn apart by a devastating rape trial. The town's golden boy, a swimmer destined for Olympic greatness, has been accused of raping a high school student, the beloved granddaughter of the police chief. Under pressure to make season 3 a success, Rachel throws herself into interviewing and investigating, but the mysterious letters keep showing up in unexpected places. Someone is following her, and she won't stop until Rachel finds out what happened to her sister 25 years ago. Officially, Jenny Stills tragically drowned, but the letters insist she was murdered. And when Rachel starts asking questions, nobody seems to want to answer. The past and the present start to collide as Rachel uncovers startling connections between the two cases that will change the course of the trial and the lives of everyone involved. This one was really excellent. I loved the podcast feel of it as well. So definitely check out my summer book review video, and I'll talk more about my thoughts on that. I found myself reading much more this last part of this year, and I actually finished the year reading 6 5-star reads. Four of them were in December, so it's exactly what I needed to catapult myself into a really good reading frame of mind starting in January. The first of the 5-star reads I actually read in September. This one was called Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. It was a really popular book, and it actually did win the Good Choice Award for Best Romance. This is a chick lit book. So here is the synopsis. Nora Stevens' life is books. She reads them all, and she is not the type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent, and her beloved little sister Libby, which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for the month of August, when Libby begs for her sister's trip away, with visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine in her own story. But instead of picnics and meadows, or run-ins with a handsome country doctor or bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact they've met many times and it's never been cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. Now, this book I do review in my fall book review video, so I will have that link down below and you can hear all my thoughts on that book. And then next book I read that was a 5-star read, I read the end of September, beginning of October, and that was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. Again, thriller, mystery, psychological thriller. This is on Kindle Unlimited. Newlyweds Trisha and Ethan are searching for the house of their dreams. But when they visit the remote manor that once belonged to Dr. Adrian Hale, a renowned psychiatrist who vanished without a trace 4 years earlier, a violent winter storm traps them at the estate, with no chance of escape until the blizzard comes to an end. In the search of a book to keep her entertained until the snow abates, Trisha happens upon a secret room, one that contains audio transcripts from every single patient Dr. Hale has ever interviewed. As Trisha listens to the cassette tapes, she learns about the terrifying chain of events leading up to Dr. Hale's mysterious disappearance. Trisha plays the tape one by one, late into the night. With each one, another shocking piece of the puzzle falls into place, and Dr. Adrian Hale's web of lies slowly unravels. And then Trisha reaches the final cassette, the one that reveals the entire horrifying truth. Again, you want to hear my thoughts? Watch my fall book review video. Now, I have not done book reviews for these next 4 5-star reads. I will add these to my January book review video. So don't worry. You'll hear all my thoughts on these in January. So the first one was a Christmas book. Last year I read a whole month worth of Christmas books, and I was or holiday books, and I shared those with you in a whole separate video. This year I could not get into it for some reason. I had a ton of them lined up to read. I just could not get into them, but this one was really good. So last year I actually discovered Camilla Isley reading one or two of her holiday books last year. This one is in kind of the same, I think there's 3 of them, and they're just called Christmas or holiday. And none of them are related, but they're just all by her, and they're all holiday books. I have yet to read one from her that's not a holiday book, but I definitely think I'm going to check them out because I think that I would really enjoy her books. Again, this is a Christmas romance chick lit. I believe I bought this on Apple Books for only $3.99. Pretty sure all of her books are on Apple Books for about $3.99. So synopsis is, down with a bad case of writer's block, Riven has escaped to a mountain cabin for a prolonged writing retreat. The last thing he needs this Christmas is for his family to invade his sanctuary away from LA. What he needs even less is for a family of strangers as large and boisterous as his own to also be stuck in the same house after a double booking disaster, especially when he ends up having to share a bunk bed with Wendy, a gorgeous, feisty New Yorker who quickly learns how to get under his skin. Sharing a room with her is sweet torture, and Riven isn't even sure what he dreads more, that every passing day brings him closer or saying goodbye, or that they have yet another night to spend together. So again, I will share all my thoughts on that book. The only thing I'm going to say is that my only gripe with most chick lit romantic comedy books, a lot of the times they have kind of the silliest names for them, and I don't know why. I don't know why they do that. I have no idea. But Riven to me was a very different name. It's spelled R-I-V-E-N. I think it could have been River and I would have been a lot happier. It just seemed so kind of a strange name, and I noticed a lot of kind of romance books have that, and it's always distracting to me. The next book was a novella by Frida McFadden. This was called The Gift, and this was a Christmas novella. Again, it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's Christmas Eve and Stella Hansen is broke. She is so broke that despite working 2 jobs, she can't even afford a present for her husband on their Christmas as man and wife. But then a mysterious storekeeper at a pawn shop offers Stella an intriguing trade. Stella wants more than anything to buy her husband the Christmas gift of his dreams, but will it come at a terrible price? Again, I will do a full review, but I'm going to tell you right now, just because it's in my mind in case I forget to tell you in my January book review. This one reminded me a lot. If you have ever read any of Stephen King's short stories, which I used to read Stephen King a ton, and actually in high school and right out of high school, and he wrote quite a few short stories that they've actually made full movies out of. And I would love to see, after reading that novella from Frida McFadden, I would love to see her put together like a whole book of short stories. Like, I think she should do more of those novellas because it really reminds me of the Stephen King, just not as gory and, you know, horror, like it's more the psychological. I would love to have a whole like psychological thriller short story book from Frida McFadden. So I hope she does more of those novellas. I hope it wasn't just for the holiday time. I would love to see more of those from her. The next 5-star read I read in December was called Lies I Told by Mary Burton. This is a new author to me. Never read anything from her. I already have 1 or 2 more on my want to read list since reading this one. This is a thriller mystery, and it is on Kindle Unlimited. Twin sisters Marissa and Claire Stockton were 16 when Claire's body was found in Virginia's James River. No arrests were made. 14 years later, Marissa's friends and dedicated career as a photographer help her to cope with the open wound of the past. But Marissa still feels the hurt, and the unsolved mystery isn't the only thing haunting her. A recent car crash has erased 10 days of Marissa's memories, a black hole leading up to the accident that's left her disoriented. Every text and phone call from that crucial missing time has vanished, along with her phone. A photograph she took off the river has disappeared. A photograph she took of the river has disappeared. A new neighbor Marissa believes she knows introduces himself as if he were a stranger. And there's the growing fear that her near-fatal accident was no accident at all. As dreams of Claire and nightmares of the crash begin to converge, so do 2 disturbing puzzles 14 years apart. Putting the pieces together could be fatal as she struggles to remember everything. Marissa closes in on the killer without realizing that he's already closed in on her. I read this book in a day and a half, and actually between this book and the next book, I read them in 3 days. So maybe it was more like 2 days for the other one and 1 book for the other one. So I will again tell you all my thoughts in January on that book. The last book I read in the month of December, which was also a 5-star read, was The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. Again, yes, I know, I told you guys I'm obsessed. Again, this is on Kindle Unlimited. I read this book in 1 day. Erica Cass has a perfect family and a perfect life, until the evening when 2 detectives showed up at her front door. A high school girl has vanished from Erica's quiet suburban neighborhood. The police suspect the worst, murder, and Erica's teenage son Liam was the last person to see the girl alive. Erica has always sensed something dark and disturbing in her seemingly perfect older child. She wants to believe he's innocent, but as the evidence mounts, she can't deny the truth. Liam may have done the unthinkable. Now she must ask herself, how far will she go to protect her son? This has an unbelievable twist at the end. Like, I'll tell you that right now. Frida McFadden is the queen of twists, and you will never I hardly ever see them coming. And I already tell myself as I'm reading through her books, when I think I have it, no, I know it's not as obvious as it is. I have to tell myself it's not what I think it is. I know it's not what I think it is because this is Freedom McFadden. So anyway, as you can tell, I love her. I was so happy to discover her this year, and I have definitely been reading the heck out of her books. So there are my 5-star reads for the year of 2022. I hope I have many more next year. Again, I will have all of my videos linked down below, all these books linked down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another book review video in January. Bye guys.